All right? Your eyes are not deceiving you. No, it's not. This isn't a SmackDown review. This is a Rampage review. I waited to see if this SmackDown was going to be a best of or something. And the opening was with Eli Drake. My boy Eli Drake. I know he's LA Knight. I still like calling him Eli Drake. I'm just silly that way. I'm that type of person. I still like to use their old names because it's more fun for me personally. I know he's LA Knight. But he was the one that did the beginning before we had, guess who, Corey Graves and the partner he was with, and just showing the repeats of the entire year. So I thought, I don't want to just not do a video. So I thought, was I going to look at NWA or was I going to do Rampage? And I didn't check NWA, so I thought, you know what, I'll wait until 10 and then I'll do Rampage and I'll do this. Now, let's make this clear. There's not a lot here on this Rampage. They're saving that for World's End. So we got very little here. And this ain't going to be a long video, so let's make this clear. It's not going to be a long video. But let's go through it. Ruby Soho versus Marina Shafir. Now, I did hear months upon months ago that Marina Shafir was going to get a little bit of help from Ronda Rousey, who supposedly, and I haven't checked ROH, so I don't know if she's still there. I think she is. I don't know. You guys can tell me below if she's there, but there was rumors that she came to ROH to help out Marina Shafir. I don't know. I don't know if she's still there, if she's been working. I have not watched ROH at all, so I don't know. But we got Marina on Rampage, and she went up against Ruby Soho, who had by her side Saraya and Cameron. No, what was her? Harley Cameron, the one with the knife, who looked like with that knife. I'm going like, so this is the one that they stuck with Saraya, who literally has not done anything in months. Either she's been working on ROH TV or Rampage TV, but I have not seen much on Collision, and I've not seen much on Dynamite. So I don't know what's going on. I'm going to tell you right now, and I know there's people who still think the storyline's going on with these women. The only one that has the most prominent storyline is Timeless Toni Storm. Saraya, what is she doing? Nothing. Ruby Soho has some type of story when it comes to Daddy Magic Namon's partner, the Parker, the man who she's actually having a relationship, and that's Ruby Soho. But he wasn't there. They talked about him during the match, but he wasn't there. Is he hurt? Is he in the back? Where is he? If they want to do something more with Ruby and Parker, why wasn't he there? Why wasn't he the one there? And then Saraya gets upset that Soho was without her, that she didn't call her. And at least then you have something between Ruby and Saraya, something. No. I don't know where people think that these women are getting prominent stories, because they're not. Because when I see this, what did we really get here? Is this trying to get Ruby Soho over? Not really. Are we getting anything with Maria Shafir? No. Is this really about Saraya? I don't even know, because we now have Harley Cameron that is trying to be built. And I don't know if this is going to help Ruby Soho. I'm sure it's not going to help Marina Shafir, even though Nia Rose is by her side out on the ring. I don't know. Next to not seeing anything from Rampage for so many months, so I don't know what stories have developed on Rampage. When you look at Collision, none of these women have barely anything to do. We had a little bit about a couple of months ago when it came to Ruby and Parker briefly when they were together, and Ruby Soho was getting upset, well, because she was smitten with him, and Saraya was getting upset that she was getting smitten with him, but now you have Harley Cameron with her, so it's impossible to tell. Moving on. We get, well, at least it's not on World's End. The ROH Pure title, Matt Sydal versus Wheeler Yuta. It wasn't very long. And it wasn't really about Matt Sydal getting a shot at this title. It was about putting Wheeler Yuta over because he's going to have the FTW title match at World's End. A title that legitimately means nothing. You know why? And I'm saying this clearly about that title. Look, when it was introduced, it was good to see they added an extra title. Because, yes, they had the world title, they had the TNT title, and it was before the international title or the what was it called at the time? Not Mid-Atlantic. I can't remember what the title they were using before they called the international title. The All-Atlantic title. Before any of that, they had Hook's title. And that was fine because it was the lowest title. It could put people over. It did with Ricky Starks. It was being put on Hook. They really didn't give it a huge amount of push when it came to Hook, but they gave it to him eventually. But then we had the All-Atlantic title that turned into the national title. Then the All-H title came. Then the TV title came. The Pure title came. The All-H World title. The Trios titles. Then the Six-Man title. And with all that, we literally had so many titles. That fourth-tier title that could have been used to help others to get somewhere, because you can't just throw people on TNT. You had to do something with them. But they never really switched it from Ricky or Hook. And then when all the other titles were introduced, it became completely irrelevant and it needs to die. I'm being honest here. If there were no other titles, I would say keep the FTW title, put it on Collision. This is what I would say. You currently have the world title, the TNT title, and if it was no other title, the FTW. You could have left the TNT on Dynamite. You could have done the FTW on Collision and then have the world title go back and forth between both shows where both those titles were prominent, and the main title will go back and forth with the champion, whoever it was, so they can sprinkle a little bit of their mojo on both shows. That could have been the way it should have been. But we've been so badly diluted. I think I counted up to about 10 titles easily. With the women's titles, because we do have women, we have their title. They also have the RH title, and they also had the TBS title. Totally diluted. So I don't care about it. Yes, Danhausen came out after Matt Sydal got beaten up and Matt Sydal got cheated because we know Hook hit him in the face and it wasn't seen by the ref. Everyone knew. But Danhausen saying that when you have your time with Hook, you're going to get it. In this, I am the fourth illegitimate champ. Well, not champ, but more like he used to be an ROH legend. He now is a judge. And he said, you cheated, you lost. And then he gets decked. Hook comes out, setting up for World's End, which I hope that Wheeler Yuta wins and he gets rid of the title. I know not everyone's going to agree with it, but at this point, what is Hook doing? Nothing. Moving on. Daniel Garcia had his moment with Daddy Magic Lemon, if I'm pronouncing his name right. I always pronounce it wrong. And after what happened on Wednesday, seeing this now is understandable. They're not happy. The House of Black attacked them, tried to break Garcia's fingers. Daddy Magic is upset because he believes that Daniel Garcia is his son, his kid, because he's by his side. And Daniel told him, calm down. You tried to hurt us. We don't care now. We're going to come after you. Doesn't matter when, we're coming for you. Was it done well? It was done what it needed to be done. But do I believe it's going to mean anything? Don't know. It's going to counter what's going on with FTR and the House of Black, because sooner or later, they're either going to have to come to a head that the House of Black is taking in FTR, or the House of Black is going to need to go away. I'm saying it right now. I like Brody King. I like Malachi Black. I like Buddy Matthews and Julia Hart. But what are they doing? They had the trios titles for a while, which means nothing now. What are they doing? The only one that's doing anything is Julia Hart. And understand, I still love Julia Hart, but she needs better competition than Abaddon. I'm just saying, moving on. Okay, I don't know what to say about Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander. They're gonna get the match at World's End because they're both from Long Island. They're both New Yorkers like me. Both beautiful women that are New Yorkers like me. But with Hathaway there, you wonder if there's gonna be some type of wrongdoing that Hathaway is going to make happen. I do not know what, but I do know it's coming. Something coming. I don't know what, but something is coming. So, let's move on to the segment with Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. We knew this was going to happen. We didn't know this. I kind of wish this was done on Dynamite. But since this was such short notice due to the fact of what happened with Kenny having articulitis, I believe that's what it's called. I can't remember the name of it, but I do know what it is. Brock Lesnar had it. I'm hoping that Kenny will fully recover, even if he doesn't wrestle anymore. I want to live a normal life. I want to make it clear. I'm not like everybody else. I personally don't care if Kenny comes back. I don't care. I care about him living. If you want him to come back, it'll be great. And I would be happy if he comes back as well. But technically, if he never comes back, but he lives and has a good quality of life, fuck wrestling. Don't care. I want to see that man live. You don't like it? Tough. I care more about a person living than continue wrestling, even if it's their passion and love. He can always do something in pro wrestling. He can become a promoter. He can become a manager. He can become a ring announcer. He can become a commentator. He can do anything other than get in the ring and wrestle. So remember that, guys. I'm saying as a wrestler in the ring, I don't give a fuck he ever comes back. He can be anything else but an in-ring wrestler. I don't fucking care. Let him live. Let him be a ring announcer. Let him be a commentator. Let him be a promoter. Let him be a manager. Let him do what JR used to do and search for talent. I don't care. Just make sure the guy is safe. But I understand why there's a short notice because it was. I just wish it was done last week or this Wednesday. It would feel a lot more important. But since it was so short notice, they had to do it. So Chris made it very clear he and Sting are good, even though they don't like each other. And this is what he said generally. He said after the match he had with Darby and him, Sting called him. They talked. And pretty much he said to Sting, Sting, I don't like you, but I respect you. And Sting said, I respect you as well. If you ever need me, I'll be there. And Sting kept his word. So that's the reason why World's End is an 8-man tag. That's the deal. But he needed to know what was going on with Sammy, so he called Sammy out. Sammy came out, and he made it very clear, straight to the point. Sammy, we were together. I've always believed in you from the time we met. But when we had that match months ago, and it was a great match, you attacked me and joined John Collis. Why? And he asked, and Sammy said it clearly. Look, I'm going to be honest to you. Your shadow, it spreads pretty far. And I was not where I was. I should have been better. You've always been my friend. You've always had my back. But I felt that I should be somewhere else. I should be more. I should be better. And I blamed you for it. And he said, I'm sorry. Now that I was out for several months with a concussion, Ty had the baby, we're together, I realized I was wrong. It wasn't you. It was me. I have to be somewhere else. Now, for me personally, as a guy who did have a kid, and I can tell you honestly, sometimes story is a reflection of real life. With Sammy, maybe it never really, and I'm not saying that this is something that was set up ahead of time. I doubt that. But I am going to say this. You never really understand what it means to be a parent and to be different until you have a kid. And I never understood that until I had a kid. And due to the fact, and I won't lie about this, I am not great when I was a parent. Not that I harmed my son, but I could not be the person that he really needed. as someone who grew up in a broken home and was abused, it's very difficult to be emotional with your kid. And not saying I was cruel to him. I let him know I loved him. But you don't really understand there's something that's missing. In my case, there's something that's missing when you're a parent, when you've not gotten that parenting yourself. You didn't have a parent there to teach you how to be a person, how to grow up as a person, and understand what a father goes through if you never had it yourself. So this could be mirroring real life, because we've always known Sammy Guevara and Ty Mello to be a little wild. But until after he had his concussion and then he was there for Ty when they had the baby, he might have learned something. Now, mind you, he might have actually added that in because that might actually be part of his new part of his life, because he's a father. So seeing that happened was good. And Chris made it very clear, look, I want to apologize as well. I know I can be controlling. We know that. And I did hear what was spoken by Chris when it sounded, I saw just Alex's video. I don't know why I said the Lex Men. Just Alex's video talking about when we still don't know, and I might do a Gump report on that, about what happened with the Bucks, what happened with Kenny and CM Punk, where they signed lifelong, pretty much gag orders. They can't, well, I don't think it's a gag order, but basically they can't speak about the incident that happened at that scrum. If they did, they can basically go get sued. But with Chris, he opened his mouth when he sounded like he was drunk and said, everyone has these DMCA, I believe, orders. I don't got one. I know everything. So when he talked about being a little controlling, we know Chris. But he did say that, and it does make sense. And he asked Sammy, look, after this 8-man tag, I still have a tag match with the champs. Will you come back, work with me as the sexy gods? Now, I forgot what they're called. What is it? The what was he calling them? The sexy gods, I believe. I think that's what he called them. It's been a while. I forgot it. And Sammy said, yeah, he gave him a hug, and they basically cheered, and everybody was happy about it, which I'm fine. Because there's no Kenny, Sammy was the best and only option. So this is what we got. Final thing we're going to talk about. The tag match that was brought together at the last minute. It was, 6-man tag. Trios. Top Flight and Action Andretti versus Best Friends in Orange Cassidy. Guys, I'm going to say this. Do I believe it's entertaining seeing that Orange Cassidy's just making random matches? No. I would rather see Orange Cassidy have an attitude problem where he starts, he starts saying, what? What? Gets upset more easier. Frustrated. Now, during the match, he did show that because he didn't like it that Action Andretti or Top Flight was getting the best of him. But I would like to see him show more attitude. Show him getting more aggressive, and everyone notices it. And he starts yelling at Rocky, and he starts yelling at Trent. Just having an attitude. Even Chris Statlander having an attitude. I would love to see that. That's what I would like to see. Let's make this clear. It wasn't a bad match. But I'm going to tell you this. When you look at Darius and Action Andretti, they worked fine together. Because they had months to work together. Many, many months. Because of Dante breaking his ankle. Just shattered that sucker, I think. He managed to come back. Looks good, but it's weird when you look at Action and you see I don't know what to say. It's like when it comes to Dante Martin, he looks like he's off. He doesn't look like he can fly around like he used to. Now, many people will probably disagree with me and say, no, Dante looks fine. No. It's like he's off. Now, it could do the fact that he has ring rust. And that takes some time to shake off. But he does not look as athletic as he did. He seems at least half a step or step back from it. Maybe it's because he might be a little concerned about hurting himself. Maybe he's just not in ring shape enough yet, and he can't be as athletic and gymnastic as he did before. He seemed to be more power driven. If you haven't noticed, during that match he was showing more power than he was showing more acrobatics. That's what it looked. He looked like he was doing more power game than flipping off the ropes or jumping. That's what he looked like he was doing. Now that could also be it, that he decided after he was gone and he bulked up a little because he looks a little bigger, that let me try and be more of a physical wrestler than a high-flying and basic gymnastic wrestler. That's what it looked. But that's just me. And he did get the pin on Rocky Romero. I finally said Rocky Romero again. Every time when I say Rocky Romero or AC Romero, there it goes, AC Romero, some reason I botch it. It's like my brain says Romero, and I'm going, am I dumb? No, it's just sometimes my dyslexia does mess with me with certain words, like Romero. Or it could be because I don't speak Spanish. And some part of my brain that might be understanding something in Spanish is trying to explain it, but the dyslexia goes, Romero, say it more like a Spanish person. Then the brain sends it to the mouth, but the dyslexia is saying, that could be it. But basically, he gets a pin on Rocky. But I don't know what that really means. But since I don't know if Rocky's gotten his match yet, I think it'll be next week against Orange. But Rocky just got pinned. And if he hasn't had the match with Orange and he loses, you can easily say Dante says, hey, I beat Rocky, who you beat. I want a match. That might happen a week after next. You never know. And this is my video before World's End. I hope you enjoy it. I don't even know what to call this. I may just give this a review of being okay. The show was okay. Maybe that might be the best title because it wasn't like there was much here. Peace.